Y'all mother effers don't want to be in manufacturing jobs. You guys do not want to be in warehouses. You don't want to do those jobs, which is why illegal immigrants, a lot of immigrants were taking those jobs, and you're like, get them the fuck out of here. That's why the transition to more services, I think we should do a way better job in transitioning to tech, where it's more normalized for everybody to get into that industry, would be preferential.
But I do think other issues like tariffs, I could definitely see that as like just a mistake on the policy front. And I do think that even the people that I trust who are talking about tariffs and are crapping on tariffs, the very long picture, if this can be retained, actually seems to be beneficial. It just like requires that the American people pay a lot more for a little while, and then after it's supposed to get better or something like that. But this is like a 10-year process, something way outside of the scope of Trump's term. And so like to have this be successful, I think is not something that we can bet on. So it's like I can see the foundation of these things.
Before I get into the tariff stuff, because I have no idea how people can come to that conclusion. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
I will say this. If we were to really talk about immigration, like I agree, like it's disgusting, unempathetic. Then why are you not pushing for immigration reform? It's not happening. It's very clear what should happen. More judges and expedite the asylum process to ensure that this stuff is not so backlogged and people are not waiting for years. Like these reforms you can do. There might be reforms you do that I'm like, that's probably not great. It doesn't really help certain people, but they're not even trying to do that. And what it seems like they're trying to do is just get these people out of here. It's not about illegal immigration. It's about no immigration. That's why I keep on saying that. It would have been easy if you just went like Republicans, because they tried to do that during Biden's administration. Trump told the Republicans no. Then, okay, now you're president. Do it. They're not. They don't want to. So that's one thing. The tariff stuff, though, I don't know who you were talking to personally. I don't see the vision of this long-term success and helpfulness to America. Because tariffs, for the most part, from every economist I've seen, none of them think that this is good to help the economy. Tariffs are not a strategy for the economy necessarily. They're mostly more of a national security thing, negotiation tactic, so to speak. They can fund the economy, but on a very small percentage, which is why the amount of money tariffs are bringing in that are now potentially going to get refunded because of how shit Donald Trump's tariff policy is, because the Supreme Court struck it down. It's only gonna put like a small dent in terms of the ridiculous big beautiful bill, where we're about to get in a historical national debt and historical budget deficit that is disgusting. So I don't see how anybody would say tariffs are doing good. We're not doing more in manufacturing at all. We're actually going down in manufacturing.
Well, that would be the thing, is you wouldn't expect us to do better in manufacturing right now. That would be like, it takes time to build the factories. It takes time to move the manufacturing over here. Like this would theoretically be like probably a 10-year process before we start to see the fruits of this, if there are fruits to this, is the theory.
Yeah, but even in the whole scope of that, we're fucking the economy now until some potentiality in the future. And the thing that people are not realizing, because manufacturing is also becoming a dog whistle, is that we would not be a leader in manufacturing if we started doing it right now in America. Because I know people hate hearing this. Y'all mother effers don't want to be in manufacturing jobs. You guys do not want to be in warehouses. You don't want to do those jobs, which is why illegal immigrants, a lot of immigrants were taking those jobs, and you're like, get them the fuck out of here. That's why the transition to more services, I think we should do a way better job in transitioning to tech, where it's more normalized for everybody to get into that industry, would be preferential. Where we're regressing to the norm, and we do not have the manpower to do that. And then we're also removing people potentially from other sectors that we could dominate in, which is the most important in terms of AI and tech. We should be really pushing AI and tech, and we have been in terms of investment. We've been investing a lot in AI, which is kind of keeping the economy from not destroying itself. But if we're now removing potential personnel and focusing so much on manufacturing, we are going to lose the AI war. And if we lose the AI war to China, we're fucked. They're going to become the number one power.
Why would bringing manufacturing here have to take work from AI sectors? I guess the theory would be that we could do both.
People.
There is a group of people that would never do tech, like a pretty large group of people who just do not have the capabilities to get in the tech world. Even if they did, they wouldn't want to. You just have a lot of like really blue collar, hillbilly, redneck Republicans who just want to go and work at Tyson and make chicken strips.
I don't think this is a meaningful percentage of people that actually want to do this, and the wages they would get would not be meaningful enough.
It's not about want. Okay with it. Maybe it's like the thing that like some people are just destined to work at McDonald's for the rest of their lives. Like that's just like some people are unable to get certain types of jobs just because of the dispositions that they have or the interests that they have, the way that they view life. I do think it's actually a pretty big population of people.
But
would
those people
fit in a factory, I think.
I just don't agree, especially those people who work in these type of industries. They're complaining about their job right now, which I hate working fast food, so I'll complain too. They don't think they're getting enough benefits. They don't think they're getting enough money. Now we have a manufacturing sector that we would not dominate in because other countries can heavily decrease the amount of wages they put for people in these manufacturing companies. So we're just wasting an investment if we can't even be competitive. And then we're going to have all these people unionize about higher pay, and that none of this shit will get done. And most people don't want to do the jobs in the first place. I just don't think there's anything that makes sense for a country like America that bringing back manufacturing as like a main like potential job function would be good for our overall evolution and innovative thought, especially considering instead of regressing, why don't we do more in terms of building education? A lot of these tech type jobs are not that hard. They aren't that hard. It's just people don't know how to do it because we did such a shit job in integrating a lot of these people into this age. When the industrial revolution started, there was a very meaningful and very intentional effect to integrate people into this type of workforce. When we started moving past that age and moved into more technology, it's like, oh, you better. It's like certain people were influenced to take these type of jobs to do IT, tech, coding, even though this was the future. I think our education doesn't give a fuck about this stuff. Our society, cultural norms, nobody tells them to do these jobs unless you're like, unless a few people that might suggest it, but generally this is not a suggested career path. We just failed in that at retrospect.
And I agree with the education aspect, but I don't. Maybe I just am exposed to a lot of this like hillbilly type. There are a lot of people who, if I was in the Matrix and I could give them both pills, they would never want to know more. Like they would never choose these jobs ever. Like I know so many hillbilly types who just like want to go to work for 8 hours, turn their braid off, complain about it, go home, drink. I know at least a couple dozen people who are like this. Like a lot of my family runs in this kind of area to where like even education at the beginning would not have produced a different type. They would still want to do this kind. They still would want to do a job. They just want to consider it a job. I think there is a big population of people who are interested in this.
Here's my thing, Elijah. Those jobs exist right now and they're not doing it. That's my issue right now because
I think those same people would never do any job. Yeah.
So the manufacturing stuff is a dog whistle at this point. They don't really care about manufacturing. They're only told to care about manufacturing jobs. If they wanted to just do a no-brain, go work at Walmart and just stay in the corner, check receipts, then they could. These jobs are available. They don't want to do these jobs.
That's probably true. I mean, this is splitting hairs. I do think working at Walmart is different than working at an old school Harrison Ford factory style thing.
It's harder.
Like sometimes even Walmart, they would want it to be harder in that kind of way. Like they wouldn't. The social interaction of Walmart is too much. Like it's too much to smile and be like, "Can I see your receipt?" They want to just work at the Amazon packaging thing and count seeds and then go home and drink. Like they want to show up to work high because they don't have to like actually
I don't
interact with
think these people
like,
exist, Elijah. I
dude,
just
I
don't
know
think.
dozens, man. I'm not even
He
kidding.
said, I would
Like,
rather do a harder job that
physically
pays the
harder,
same
mentally
amount.
less hard.
That pays the same amount? No way.
Yeah, they'd want to do like a physically more intensive job so
And
that
it's
they
not
can turn
even
off their brains to.
You can't
You know
turn
what
off
I
your
mean?
brain when you work in a factory, though.
You absolutely can. I used to work at I used to do seed counting I'm from Iowa, a cornfield at Syngenta, and I
Right.
would just listen to a podcast and just count seeds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That was the whole job the entire day. And my brain was off, bro. Like I like was in a whole other world the
And you
whole
can't do
time.
that working at a Walmart or a Target. You can't
Well,
just
you kind of can,
buy.
but then somebody's like, "Hey, where are the pickles?" And you're like, you're just like totally taken out. I don't know. Like I said, this is splitting hairs. This isn't
Fair.
like in a kind of an idea that like you would see me going on the rooftops. What I'm saying though is that like the market would figure itself out, and that's why global tariffs via executive action are so bad, because it's not allowing like a system to actually regulate this kind of thing. Like what should happen is we like try bringing manufacturing here at our own dime or something like that, and then we see if there's the taste for it. Maybe if a lot of people who are sick of this AI stuff, maybe we want to put 60-year-olds back to work or something like that. Like who knows? Maybe there's a reason that there would be a taste for this kind of work. They fill that work, and then we see what happens. So like I don't think that a tariff regime is the right answer, but I do think that like I don't think bringing manufacturing inherently is bad per se.
So I will say, conceptually, I agree. Tariffs inherently are not bad. It's just Donald Trump used it bad. So I agree with you there. So regarding tariffs, and regarding tariffs in particular, we've seen it used. Like Joe Biden has used it in a very particular way to allow more jobs in America. I don't remember if it was specifically manufacturing or maybe it was something regarding like data. I don't remember exactly. But one thing I know for certain is that Joe Biden had very, very, very good manufacturing job numbers. There was a lot of people working in these manufacturing companies. Joe Biden's administration had historically low unemployment rates. People were still complaining. It was still happening. They were having these jobs. They were available.
People will always complain, I think. But yeah.
Exactly. So my thing here is that instead of regressing to this idea of this manufacturing utopia, I don't even know why people think that would be a utopia. We should ensure that when it comes to an economy, from my understanding, it's all about putting value in so you can, receive value back. So there are certain fields moving forward that just would have more value that you can put in. And we should prepare people for taking those jobs more so in America with all the resources we have. Because if there's no situation as a as a country that we will be able to lead in manufacturing in a competitive way compared to some of these other countries, because we don't have as much people and we are not as we're actually liberal enough to pay these people. Some of these other countries don't want to pay these people, so they have more people and they can pay them less. We're kind of fucked there.
Well, and the rug pull on this too is that if you're supporting this initiative pragmatically, these manufacturing jobs are not going to people. They are certainly, by the time these manufacturing jobs actually come back here with these tariffs, they will certainly be replaced by AI. Like a large majority of them will be replaced by robots who can do these things. And if you're not convinced of this, I just don't think you understand the power of AI right now, let alone in 10 years when these plants are finally up and running. It will be robots doing these jobs. It will not be humans doing these jobs. So that, if anything, that'll double destroy our ability to manufacture as well, especially if you do this globally as well. So yeah, no, I agree.
There's a larger conversation too in terms of, will we ever be able to reach that status where people are able to live without working? Because that's the ideal version. AI does all the work and we don't have to work ever. We just live our lives while AI pumps it, and then all the very, very wealthy people get the money, and then they reinvest that back into society, and society's pumping on. There's an interesting equation there. I don't trust the elites to do that in a good faith way. I think they would do that in a dangerous
Yeah.
way, and it would fuck America. But there is an interesting question at the very least there, because we have to factor in how much we can invest in more low wage work, which is like regards to minimum wage, in regards to the type of jobs people are doing, that will be able to pump enough into the economy as well as meet people's quality of life. There's probably an equation there. We just need to be willing to entertain it more.
Yeah, I think so too. And I will say that, like, philosophically, I think that work in some way is a very important part of life. And I think that we will do a lot of discovery once if we do live in a world where work is no longer there. I think that people think that they want to never work, but I think that at least some work is a very important part of living life, I think. So that's also going to be something that I would not trust our current administration to make a decision on, let alone, I don't even trust most people to make a decision on this, let alone the current people that we have running the country. So yeah, I guess I'm just as skeptical of this too. So
Yeah, we'll see how everything plays out. But yeah, it's a kind of a crazy situation going on right now. We talked about the Newsom stuff. We talked about we somehow like seamlessly transitioned to the tariff stuff.
yeah, sure.